Hey there, folks. I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Man, I can't believe it's been 2 years since my last visit to Wonderland. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, well, while I was blogging Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland from 2010, I mentioned that I was in a show called Alice One Cat's Tale, which was a fun musical retelling of the Lewis Carroll story. And you would not believe how many characters I got to act as. But out of all those 4 characters, my favorite would have to be Dr. Dodo. Anyway, as for what I thought of Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, well, some folks say it's pretty forgettable. But as a Tim Burton fan, I thought this movie was very epic and thrilling, especially during the final battle at the end. Plus, the characters were very humorous and eccentric. You may also remember that after the blog, I mentioned that a sequel would be released, and I wish I could have blogged it last year if I wasn't recovering from that giant cell tumor surgery in my leg. But anyway, now is probably the best time to do it, so let's just get started already. Released on May 27th, 2016, the movie is Alice Through the Looking Glass. Now, let's get started. Alice is back in Wonderland, but this time it was not an accident. She's on a quest to go back in time and rescue the Mad Hatter's family, but in order to do so, she needs the chronosphere, a device that enables time travel which only a walking clock-like man named Time has. As she journeys through time in a thrilling and dangerous adventure, she learns more about why the Red and White Queens don't get along and the actual truth about the Mad Hatter's family. But little does Alice know that you shouldn't try to change the past, but rather learn from it. So, what do I think of this movie? Well, to be honest, I enjoyed it. I mean, sure, it's not better than the original, but it was still a very thrilling and adventurous movie. But in order to explain why, let's move on to Mustang notes. The movie was announced via Variety on December 2012. James Bobin was first approached about the project while doing post-production work on Muppets Most Wanted. Of being asked, Bobin has said that he couldn't pass it up as he has a passion for the works of Lewis Carroll, as well as history in general. Principal photography began on August 4th, 2014, at Shepperton Studios. In August 2014, filming took place at Gloucester Docks, which included the use of at least 4 historical ships: Kathleen and May, Irene, Excelsior, and the Pearl of Pembroke, the last of which were named the Wonder for filming. Principal photography ended on October 31st, 2014, aka Halloween. Now, to be honest, the visuals in this movie are really incredible. For example, while Alice is going through time on the chronosphere, it's very creative of how it looks like an actual ocean with different time periods as islands. Also, when has time travel ever not been cool? Plus, I like how Time and Eratzabet's castles look in this movie. Time's castle is very dark and mysterious, with rooms with watches that represent folks who are dead or alive. And there's also a room with a grand clock that contains the chronosphere. And Eratzabet's castle is a giant heart-shaped tree with red branches, and she has vegetable servants. But there are some parts of the movie that don't feel like a dark version of Wonderland anymore, like in the scene at the Hatter's tea table. And there is one scene that freaks me out. Most of you out there who know about my worst fear may know what it is, but for those who don't, it's the scene where Alice is in a mental hospital diagnosed with female hysteria, about to be injected with sedative. Yikes. But the most intense part of the movie is when there's a time paradox where everything in Wonderland freezes in red rust, and Alice has to race back to the present to put the chronosphere back on the grand clock. As for the story, well, it's okay. It's a little dull and cliched at times, but it's not too bad. Another thing I like about this movie is the music conducted by Danny Elfman, and of course the end credits song, Just Like Fire, sung by Alicia Beth Moore, aka Pink. And to me, it's such an awesome hit to listen to. Anyway, now that we're done with Mustang notes, let's move on to the cast. Our main heroine, Alice Kingsley, is once again played by Mia Wasikowska. To me, Alice has improved since her last visit to Wonderland. Not only is she a great sea captain like her father was, but she's also very daring and determined to help the Mad Hatter uncover the truth regarding his family's disappearance, while traveling through time on the chronosphere. Plus, she believes the only way to achieve the impossible is to believe that it is possible. Next is Terrence Hightop, aka the Mad Hatter, once again played by Johnny Depp. Best known from films like the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Lone Ranger, and of course, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, which is getting a 5th movie next month. Now, when we first see him, Hatter looks all worried because his family is missing following the attack of the Jabberwocky. Later, he becomes all pale and sick. However, as a young man, Hatter is still very zany. And after Alice found out what happened, Hatter recovers and joins Alice and the gang to rescue his family. Next is our main villain, Erasabeth, aka the Red Queen, aka the Queen of Hearts, played by Helena Bonham Carter. Best known as Bellatrix Lestrange from the Harry Potter film series, the 2015 Cinderella live-action remake, and of course, Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. In this film, Erasabeth is being cared for by time. As Alice goes through time on the chronosphere, she learns about why Erasabeth's been such a brat and doesn't get along with Marana. And we also learn why her head is so big. Plus, we even learn that during the Jabberwocky attack, she kidnaps the Highttops and puts them in an ant box. After she takes the chronosphere from Alice, she almost causes a time paradox when her past self sees her. Erasabeth's sister, Marana, aka the White Queen, is played again by Anne Hathaway, best known from the Princess Diary films, as well as a few others like Ella Enchanted, The Cat Returns, Hoodwinked, and the Rio films. In this movie, Marana tells Alice to go to Time's castle in order to use the chronosphere to find answers to help the Mad Hatter. While Alice travels through time, she learns that young Marana steals a tart from her mother and eats it, and accuses Erasabeth by leaving crumbs underneath her bed. After Alice places the chronosphere back on the grand clock, Marana apologizes to Erasabeth for lying, and both of them make amends. Marana also used a sugar cube to bring the high tops back to their normal height. Now let's talk about the new characters in the movie, starting with Time, played by Sacha Baron Cohen. Best known from the Madagascar trilogy, Sweeney Todd, and Les Miserables. Now, Time is a powerful Father Time godlike human/clockwork hybrid who speaks in a German accent and rules over all of time himself in Wonderland, using the chronosphere in his castle. Fun fact, in developing the character of Time, Bobin sought to avoid creating a straight-up bad guy, noting that it would be a bit dull, and also that the role in that universe already existed in the form of the Red Queen. Instead, Bobin sought to make Time a bit of a twit, further explaining that there's no one better at playing the confident idiot trope than Sacha Baron Cohen, and adding that it was very much with Sacha in mind. Now, in my opinion, Time seems a bit eccentric, but his henchmen that represent seconds, minutes, and hours are pretty cool. Next we have the Mad Hatter's father, Zanuck Hightop, played by Rhys Ifans, who got to be in The Amazing Spider-Man and Harry Potter 7 Part 1. During Terrence's boyhood, Zanuck was very strict and didn't seem to want his son to be a Mad Hatter. But underneath all that, he's still a caring guy, due to the fact that he treasures the blue paper hat that Terrence made when he was a boy. The rest of the Wonderland gang are as follows. Tweedledee and Tweedledum, both played by Matt Lucas. The Cheshire Cat, voiced by Stephen Fry. Nivens McTwist, the White Rabbit, voiced by Michael Sheen. Bayard the Bloodhound, voiced by Timothy Spall. Mellyunkin the Dormouse, voiced by Barbara Windsor. Thackeray Earwicket, the March Hare, voiced by Paul Whitehouse. And Absalom the Butterfly, voiced by Alan Rickman. Sadly, this movie is the last film Rickman acted in before his death on January 14th, 2016. And now, let's move on to my final words. Overall, Alice Through the Looking Glass is not a great sequel, but it was still a thrilling adventure which involved time travel. The story is a tad dull and cliched. Most of the visuals are dark and mysterious. Some scenes can be scary at times. The characters from Alice and the Mad Hatter are enjoyable, including the Red and White Queens. Time is an eccentric new character, and the rest of the gang bring back memories from the first movie. Though, I do not recommend this movie for everybody, but if you enjoyed the first movie, then I guess you should give it a watch. I give this film 71% out of 100. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Be sure to join me again for my next vlog. Mustang Power.